Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 2nd. Hey, we turned into that Christmas month. We're going to check in with the guys and see what kind of information they can provide on our own special Christmas shopping, which is fish. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 2nd. Hey, we're joined by Gentry Gordy from the phone. He's out there working in the fields a little bit today, and we're having a hard time getting him on video, but we're going to check in. Gentry, what's going on at Lake Martin these days?
We're finally getting to the point, Dano, the water stabilized a lot better. Hopefully with this rain, some of the creeks, Sandy, up the river, they'll start to stain up a little bit. But, Martin's a different ball game. As long as the water temperature is above 50, 52, those fish will still eat top water. And now that the water has dropped, I'm going to keep a buzz bait or a popper, something on my front all day long, because it may be better, after lunch when it does warm up a little bit. You just got to avoid the pine straw and the leaves. But your square bills, this is what we've been waiting on. So your square bills, your buzz baits, the trash piles at the end of these docks that you can kind of see now. I'm looking for maybe 8 or 10 foot and less, up on the banks and back in some of the pockets is what I'm concentrating on right now.
What about a jerk bait or maybe spinner bait or maybe a bladed jig or something like that around that stuff? Is that little too early for that?
No, absolutely not. But Martin, if there's no wind, the chatterbait and the spinnerbait is just dead. For some reason, I know that's like that for a lot of lakes, but Martin being as clear as it is,
yeah.
Particularly without a chop on the water a little bit, you can hang that up. But a jerk bait, especially like on post cold front stuff like that, if the trash pile's deep enough, absolutely stop a jerk bait over the top of that.
All right, let's turn our attention to Jordan. What's going on there?
Jordan, so anything upriver, your eddies with your, I like the ball jig pretty much year round, but, half ounce ball jig, small trailer, those spots love a chartreuse, dip your tail, your trailer in chartreuse on them bluff walls with the eddies and all that. The bait fish are there, the mouths of some of those cuts up that river. But me personally, it's time to get the big weight out. The grass is dying. That holds more heat, some stained water. Do not pass up punching that dead grass up there at Jordan. And, if you get some wind and the rain dirties it up, a big thumping spinnerbait on the riprap and seawall, stuff like that.
I got you, man, Jordy. Gentry, we also don't want to forget the little swim bait thing that you can do on a jig head or maybe even Alabama rig up there too is probably good. Brother, we appreciate everything, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir, guys. Y'all take care.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, December the 2nd. Hey, it's December time and we got our own Santa Claus. Lee Pitt's running around out there. Let's do a little Christmas time fishing on Neely Henry and Weiss Lake. Let's start at Weiss. What's going on up there right now, Lee?
Well, I can bring you a little present or two early. It's the crappie are starting to turn on pretty good there at Weiss. We've had to deal with some winds this week, and it's been finally got like we needed to be. Got cold on us, but the crappie are picking up. They're doing pretty good, and you can catch them not only just by vertical dropping live bait down there to them and kind of spot. And also, a lot of these guys are using their forward-facing sonars and casting at some of these deeper brush piles. And right now, the Bobby Garland products, that new live roamer, is doing real well with that, and also some of the baby shad.
What kind of weights are you having to use to get the bait to where it needs to be?
There's a couple different factors on that. You got to put, if the wind's kind of whipping you around a little bit, or they're pulling. Well, here lately they hadn't pulled a whole lot of water, but if you got pretty good current going, I'm using either a half ounce, something like that. I like a 5/8 when I can get by with it because it kind of holds it in place. But you want to keep that bait straight up and down. If you get any kind of sweep to it when you move or trying to drift a little bit, you're gonna wind up staying hung more. So if you can keep that bait just vertical, straight up and down on it. And then when I'm casting, I'm going with like a 16th.
So let's bass bite. Let's touch on that at Weiss right now. They should probably be moving a little bit with this cold weather.
It has, and they're starting to get into that, the winter stages of it. Not saying you can't catch them in that 4 and 5 foot of water. If you get a good sunny day and you got some protected little places, they'll still hold tight. The Coosa, you can catch even in the dead of winter. You can still catch some fish. When I say shallow, 4, 5, 6 feet. But a lot of these fishes are starting to push off these points right now, getting out there on some of that deeper structure, getting ready for winter.
All right, let's turn to Neely Henry in the last 45 seconds. What's going on there?
Neely is still pretty good. It's the crappie bite is a little bit better at Neely right now. For a couple of weeks, Neely was just a month. Neely was just out of sight on the bass bite. I
Yeah.
think things are changing now. They're getting into those dropping off the brakes a little bit, getting out there ready for winter. So you can still catch a few, but right now the crappie at Neely is doing pretty good. So you can go out there and stock your freezer.
Lee, brother, we appreciate everything. We know you're out there in the deer woods taking a little break today to try to put some meat in the freezer. Enjoy that. We hope you get a good one.
All right, Dano. Thank you. Talk to you next week.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 2nd. Hey, we're rolling on Christmas time. We got Josh Herron joining us to talk a little bit about what kind of Christmas gifts we can put in our live wells. Josh, what's happening at Logan Martin and Lay Lake?
Man, Lay Lake's turned into a live scope bonanza. I mean that's what it is, dude. Oh, we caught a bunch of fish last weekend, and I think we wound up with right at 15 pounds or something like that. And thought we had
Nice.
a decent. I thought we had a decent day, and turns out we did not. Everybody and their brother had 15 to 17. But man, these fish they've really got on bait hard. And I don't know if it's from lack of current or what it is at the moment, but they're busted up, they're spread out, and there's a lot of bait in 20 to 30 right now. So there was a lot of guys doing a lot of looking and chasing.
They're roaming, but then they're finding schools they're just kind of compressing the schools and feeding on them, or is it kind of going on all the time?
Man, they look like dolphin. I mean, like you'll see a pod of bait that'll be 2 times as big as your boat, and you'll watch 4 or 5 of them come through and cut that big pod of bait in half and actually separate them,
Oh wow.
and then just it's pretty cool to watch, and it's something if you're gonna do it, I'd recommend committing to it because you're gonna spend all day doing it. But I mean, you can run around right now. You can throw spinnerbait a little bit. We caught several fish in grass at Lay. The quality wasn't spectacular by any means, but there were still some there to be caught. It's kind of setting up to where you've got fish from 6 inches to 35, 40 feet. So I mean, it's really a pick your poison kind of deal right now. You can do a little bit of everything on Lay, especially, and Logan's kind of setting up the same way too. So if you're a shallow guy, you still got your opportunity to do that. And as it gets colder, like you're going to start getting into more of the flat sided crankbaits. Especially when these nights get cooler here in the coming week, we're going to start getting a lot of fish start keying up on rock. Chatterbait's going to start coming into play. Flat sided crankbait, the jerkbait deal is really going to start coming on strong. So this is one of my favorite times of year to fish. It's just you really got to cover some ground and spend a lot of time looking right now.
Yep. Be bundled up and keep warm. Josh, man, we appreciate it, brother. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again next week, man.
See you, boys.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 2nd. Hey, it's Christmas time coming up. We know Santa wants to put a few fish in your boat. We're going to check with the Guntersville Santa, Tom Ott. Tom, what's happening at Guntersville?
Well, ho, 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 Dano, I can tell you that. Well, after we finished up Turkey Day there, we had a little bit of cold weather, and that's really got some things kicking off now. That jerkbait bite's getting hot, hot, hot out there, fellas. I mean, there's still a lot of floating grass, but you can get that jerkbait through there, and this cold weather's really got the fish fired up. I mean, just following bait everywhere you can. There's bait everywhere, but I mean, the fish are really just following these big wads of bait around. If you've got some forward looking sonar, you can find them just kind of sitting under the bait and just waiting for, generally your bigger fish are going to be below that ball of bait anyway. But if you're not using that forward looking sonar, just go out there and find you some nice points, get around some grass edges in that 8-10 foot of water. That's where those fish are really, really active. And I mean, you can see the activity on the top of the water, the surface of the water, whether it be bait fish skipping or a bass just coming up and, taking a big old chunk of bait fish. But it's a really good time to be out there. Throw that A-rig, get out there with that jerk bait, stay on those deeper points in the 8-10 foot range, and I think you're going to have a lot of success.
What about striper? Are you seeing any boils on that? It seems to be a real popular thing this time of the year. Are you seeing anything?
Dano, I really haven't. I don't. I know that there's some big striper out there. I know guys catch some big ones, but I really don't see a whole lot of that. I haven't seen a lot of that in the lake or this impoundment. But occasionally I'll run across a small school of whites or maybe even a big school of white bass. When we're out crappie fishing. But I just really haven't seen the larger hybrid type stripes. Even though I've seen photos of them, not caught one myself.
What about the crappie bite? Is it still around the causeways or are they starting to move?
Wow, I tell you right now, seems like the causeways are the hot spot. A lot of the fish that were coming into the creeks or were back in the back of the creeks eating those minnows have really started to congregate around the causeways, the bridges, and that kind of deal. I've been talking to some guys that are catching 40, 50 a day, mostly at night, early in the morning, or at least when we get some low light conditions, we get some cloud cover, something like that. But you got to get there early if you're going to get you a spot on that bridge.
Tom, as always, brother, we appreciate everything. We will talk to you again next week, my friend.
All right, guys, y'all be safe out there. Tight lines. We'll see you next time.
Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 2nd. Thanks to everybody that tunes in. Thanks to the guys for sharing the information. And don't forget, we're here at Bucks Island. We're here for that special Christmas present, whether you're looking for that boat for that special someone, something in the parts department. If you need service, we got the service department kicking. And then, of course, we got all the tackle you might want up there in the loft. Thanks for spending the time with us. We appreciate you. And we'll talk to you again next week.